Welcome to the Invention Show. I'm your host, Brian Freed, and today our guest is Artie Dannunzio. He's from Dannunzio Designed. Welcome to the show, Artie.
Thank you, Brian, for having me.
How you doing? You having a great day today?
Yes, I am. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. I know that you're going to be sharing your experience as an inventor, entrepreneur, as a business owner, and definitely in the trenches of the jewelry industry. So welcome again to the show, Artie.
Thank you.
So why don't you start off? I did a little bit of an intro, but why don't you tell us who you are and where you're from to start with?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I'm Artie Dannunzio. I have been running my own company in the jewelry sector for 40 years now. First established in 1955, and we were on a journey of, as a mom and pop family-owned business, supplying very fine quality jewelry and selling it to all levels of our industry. And that was our forte. We were known as the guys who made some of the top quality pieces, but never sold it under a brand persona, let's say.
Okay. And where is your office located?
One of my offices is in Staten Island, and we also have a location in Manhattan itself.
Okay. So, Artie, you're on the Invention show. So, somehow or another, what you're doing in the jewelry industry is related to innovation, invention. I know the entrepreneurship side, but Artie, why don't you give us a little bit of kind of the history of Dannunzio Jewelers and Designed?
Absolutely. When I first came into the business with my father, I was young. I was 14 years old, and he was doing what a family business does, was servicing private clientele, and also they were an assembly shop for a lot of the luxury brands, a lot of the different manufacturers and suppliers to the direct to the retailer, and they were more in the background because the quality that they always did were top notch. It was always some of the best in the industry, and they were true. My grandfather and my father were true craftsmen. They were before the era we have now, where machinery helps us achieve things overnight. I watched people, my father, my grandfather, and also his staff assemble an item, let's say an original model, from metal or carving it from wax. And that's a lost art that's never used anymore in this industry. So it was, I probably started going with my father at age 14, and I was the coffee runner, the post office guy, and sweeping up the shop. And I would lean over and watch all the workers, and I just, it just, it just captivated me. I was brought in to it, and I just loved watching something be made. And we, as I progressed, I went fully into the business at 17. And being old school gentleman like my father was, you weren't going to be getting an office with your name on it. You had to go through the journey and start from the bottom and work through your factory, starting from the polishing department, which is the finishing at the end, all the way straight through till I got to the model making department, which that's where I had, I think, my best attributes in.
Now, you gave it away a little bit by saying 14 and 17 years old that you were, but when did all this start, Artie? Maybe we're going to figure out how old you are, but what year was this? Just kind of figuring.
Full time was 1984.
Okay, very nice. Artie, what at the time when your dad was building and running his business and you were helping him, what made him different than anybody else that was on the streets selling jewelry?
I think it was the attention to the quality and the finish, and even if it if it was available to them, to as simple as doing a twisted wire brooch. They could buy the twisted wire or pre-twisted. They wouldn't do that. They would want to do it by hand. They wanted it to be that extra step above industry standards, industry practice. And it drove me to do the same throughout my journey with them, and then after, where I never conformed to the situations in our industry where price, thinning out a piece, changing your diamond quality, doing preset settings versus handwork. And I've kept that for the 40 years throughout my whole span of my whole career.
And that kind of leads us to why you're on the Got Invention show.
Yes, it
So
does.
tell us about your business then. So we have some information and kind of the history of how you got into the business with your dad. And here you are, you're in the driver's seat now. So tell us about the way that you're running your business at this point.
Okay. I obviously expanded the business from being just producing for other companies, started making our own designs, and then going direct and selling to the retailers who then would sell to the end user. I did many different things for a good portion of beginning of my career, participated with De Beers and a lot of their advertising and promotion, supplying the piece that would be in the ad, to joining different mom and pop groups where they would have shows, then attending shows, selling to the retailer, getting in my car, driving to all different retailers to sell my products, but always trying to do something a little different. You know, it was a little scary because you wanted to do something a little different because our industry is filled a lot with imitation, and it was always about trying to beat a price, trying to capture a sale. I always tried to make something a little different, but it was more staying within those realms, but just stepping out a little bit. As I learned and started, seeing as our industry was evolving, that's a very tough situation to be in, where your true innovative process and your true passion to make something different is really limited because you're trying to conform to the norm.
Right. Now, Artie, in the industry, most of the time people in any industry, there's kind of the commodity type products and items that people look for and that companies put out there. But it seemed like from the time that you kind of evolved from working with your dad and for your dad, now running the company yourself, keeping that standard of always designing, it seems like you're really into the innovation, looking to take it to the next level, like you're saying. So how urgent and important is that in your business to have that competitive edge?
Well, it is 100% priority. Making this design, that taking innovation and crossing it over to the luxury jewelry sector, is one of the mountains you have to climb. But then also being recognized from what you have been for the last 40 years, which is still staying in that norm, but doing better, trying to do better quality, a little bit different of a design, and transforming yourself from that to be recognized also as a luxury jewelry brand versus what I was. Now, this innovation I have now is now patented in over 70 countries, and it's probably one of the very few patents in jewelry, in a design. There's mechanisms, there's clasp, there's sizing mechanisms. There are patents for that, but most of the patents our side of the industry are focused on watch mechanisms and different things like that.
So tell us about it, Artie, while we're looking at this.
It is a assembly process that I've worked on for over 15 years. It allows the piece to be assembled with an inside mirror of gold that now with the diamonds set above it where they're suspended, it brings the light and refracts it through off the back mirror through the diamond and elevates the look, but also the distinctive look gives it such a captivating feel to the end user that they become immersed into it. And it again, I now with even industry professionals, because this even the setting and obviously the innovation, it's hard for them to be able to determine the diamond weight, the diamond size of the diamond, because it maximizes the brilliance and the appearance of that natural diamond.
Do you have one of those? Do you have
Absolutely.
the designs in front of you?
I could show here.
So let's take a look. It's nothing better than the real thing.
Absolutely. If you look here, what I did was where the holes are, where the diamonds are dropped into it, you will see the way the back inside, they're elevated, they're floated above and suspended above that inside mirror. But then obviously I still paid homage to the tradition with the pave diamonds on the opposite side. So it's bringing the innovation, but also paying respect to the tradition. And this is one style. And then there's multiple looks and multiple styles, even here where you have, I've also done some things with textures with the gold. If you look here, you could see the flash and the way that the stones make an appearance that they don't in traditional jewelry. And learning the process and putting a piece of this magnitude that I'm going to bring out now, a piece like this here. Now taking the piece like this, but I'm a stickler for even finishing. So even in the back, I'm finishing the piece because I have that thing ingrained in me from my father and my grandfather. You never not finish and complete a piece. But a piece like this, it not only is a piece of jewelry, it's really a work of art, because just to assemble something like this takes about 2.5 months to put the entire piece together. Seeing them looking into this piece of jewelry and immersing themselves into it and not wanting to let it go, it came at the right time because of all the other things that I've had to challenge and deal with. And now we're fully immersed into this innovation, bringing it to the luxury sector. And again, it's not trying to challenge the industry. It's only, like I've done for many years, support and bring the message forward of how important we are as an industry, that yes, innovation does work here. We now need to step up and show the world that we can do things, step out of the box, challenge the norm, and present something amazing.
You know what, Artie? I didn't have a chance to tell you before, but what you showed with the heart and all the diamonds that are in there, beautiful. Very, very impressive. I didn't want to interrupt you there. It was stunning.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I teed up for us, the other innovation that you have within your industry and within Dannunzio Designed is what I have on the screen here. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. This here was, I obviously made every type of piece of jewelry throughout my career because when you're a family business and you're out there selling, you sell whatever you can. So you also made bridal jewelry, you made fashion jewelry, you made everything you possibly could to make the sale and to go and write orders. And so we would do bridal jewelry, but in bridal, I tried for years to figure out a way to make something different. But you can only twist, bend, curl, flip, use different shaped diamonds to a certain point. There's only so much you can do. And there's nothing that's not replicated to a certain degree. So I thought and thought and thought, how do I stand out? How do I get bridal jewelry and even across the board jewelry, standardized items that sell every day? How do I make how do I make it different? So I thought of globally recognized icons, which is the intertwining heart symbol, infinity symbol, single hearts, and also the usage of birthstones. So one of the patents is the use of the intertwining heart symbol, which we all know means two hearts have become one, and then having the end user's birthstones within those intertwining hearts. Then a single heart next to that with the gemstone of the month. Let's say the couple gets engaged. So it's a incredible personalization for anybody who loves to personalize a piece of jewelry. Then if you look at the wedding band, using the infinity symbol, which has the meaning of lifelong journey together, again, we can put the end user's birthstones within that, and then a heart next to it representing the gemstone of the month the wedding occurred. Now, we then extended the patents. Now, I'm going to give you a fun story about this. When I did this, I started this concept a very long time, applied patents so many years ago. At the time, the patent attorney said, I don't think you're going to get this because these are globally recognized icons. I don't really think it's going to happen. So I said, what? It was at the time was an exorbitant amount of money. It was many, many years ago. And you're looking at $25,000 because patents were very expensive back then. And I took a risk, which was a big risk. And a long time went by, didn't hear anything about it. So, just pretty much gave up on it, and said, okay, it's not going to happen. And then one day the gentleman called and said, can't believe that I'm going to be able to tell you this, but you actually got those patents. And I was shocked. I was pretty much in awe of it. And I then, as that started to develop, I've then expanded on the patents and expanded to where now a popular item has always been what they always called years ago mother's ring, where across the finger be all different color stones, or in a bracelet all different color stones. Fashion has changed and industry has evolved, consumers have evolved. They love the concept, but they're not so appealing to the look of a piece of jewelry like that.
So Artie,
yes,
you've gone through these iterations and congratulations between trademarks and patents that you've built up to really make an impression within the industry and also have the intellectual property rights to these pieces. So right now, where is your company and what does it look like for the future of Dannunzio Designed?
Right now, we are launching many platforms direct to consumer and bringing the visual impact of our innovation and crossing it to the jewelry sector. Launching that as we speak. We started already. We're going to be going into several international markets. We're going to be partnering with some very high-end luxury global retailers, luxury retailers domestically and international. What I foresee for the future is I want to share this innovation with the consumer, because the one thing that I did learn about it is it's not a story you can tell. It's an experience. And when the consumer experiences it, I see the joy it brings to them. And so moving forward, our mission is to share this with as many people as we can. And even the end user doesn't mean the end user has to own it, but at least share it with them because it's such an incredible visual impact.
Artie, just to get an idea, and however you want to answer this, but how can we get an understanding of the level of impact that you've had on the industry? What sort of numbers do you do, whether it's within the industry of how many retailers you work with or how many pieces you sell? I'm sure you're not going to tell us how much you make, but how can we know the size of your company to know the impact that you've had over the years between your father and you being in the industry for this long?
Well, over the years, we always had a very solid family business that grew to a nice size. I mean, we sold over the years. I think when we were doing the independent way, we sold upwards of 150 to 200 different retailers at a time our products. Our learning that within this luxury sector and now bringing this luxury innovation, you are working differently with a smaller group of windows, but a much more higher level of windows. So our goal is to, by this time next year, to be I'll just say for the United States to go to do all the international take too long, but just for the US to have a solid 175 locations with our brand experience in those locations, including
Very nice.
our own flagship location, which should come and be launched by mid next year.
So, Artie, you've been running your business for a long time. How many employees? You said you have 2 offices. How many
Yes.
employees do you manage? And
Well,
retailers?
I managed at one point as high as in my independent side as high as 35. We are now adding more every day as we go. So right now I'm at between the assembly part that I have and the office part, I have about 16, but we're moving on very quickly, adding on a weekly basis with this new venture.
Well, I'm sure as you're being the entrepreneur side of what you do, I'm sure you're scaling to being more efficient and at the same time expanding like you are. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Your designs and just being well organized and being able to have these type of designs that are exclusively yours, and the yours, mine, ours collection, and the intellectual property that you have with trademarks and the patents. You've really taken your business within the industry of the jewelry industry to the next level. So really, congratulations and continued success with what you're doing, Artie. So look, there's inventors, entrepreneurs, innovators, people in the jewelry industry that are listening and listening and hoping to hear your words of wisdom for them. What can you share with us to keep us all moving forward in obviously being successful just like you?
I will say, if you're going to, when you do an invention in any sector, you're going to be challenging the status quo. You're going to be challenging the norms, challenging tradition. You will get pushback. You will, whether it's from the inside of the industry or from your sector or outside. It's a tough battle, but when you start to get out of that fight, it is well worth all that you put into that innovation to bring it to the world, because it really does change things, and it gives the world something new, something fresh, something that they'll love. And all of the things that you face will you feel great when it's done.
And that's what it takes.
Oh yes, it does. It takes a lot of thick skin.
So, Artie, we can find your current designs on DannunzioDesigned.com, just like it shows right under your name there.
Yes.
And what else can we expect, and how else can we keep in touch with you and watch your innovation come to continued success?
If you'll see that our Dannunzio Designed website, we're going to be launching a completely new and immersive experience on the website, which looks like it'll be scheduled for late September. Follow us. You can even go right onto our website and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the different social media venues, because you'll be hearing a lot of new announcements. You'll be seeing new products coming through. It's going to be, I think, an amazing. Once the holidays come, I think you'll see a lot of exposure for this, and we want to share it with you. We want to share it with everybody.
That's great. Well, Artie, congratulations. I know there's a lot more to come. I get a chance to speak to you before and after the show, so I really commend what you're doing and where you're going. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Artie.
Okay.
So think about it. You're in your industry. How is it that you're going to innovate and be that next level of your industry, so people know who you are, and to get to that point where people have the exclusivity of what you're doing in the industry, whether it's trademarks, patents, copyrights, really to build your industry and what you're doing to the next level. Congratulations, Artie Dannunzio from Dannunzio Designed, and everybody else, keep doing that innovation, that little bit more of whatever it is in your industry to make a difference. Thank you. And if you'd like to be a guest on the Got Invention Show, you can go to gotinventionshow.com. Thank you, and keep on inventing.